What's up guys, my name is Jimmy Champane and today I'm here with a new type of video for my channel and it's just going to be my straight up opinion on something that I noticed in the gaming news today. And yeah, let's just jump right into it. It's about Resident Evil 7. Now, no secrets here, I loved Resident Evil 7. I gave it a 4.5 out of 5 on Bloody Disgusting. I said it was a new standard for survival horror, and in my video review, which is here on this channel, I said a lot of nice things about it too. I genuinely love this game. If it was out of 10, I'd give it like a 9.7. That's how much I really liked it. And so naturally, after I beat it, I was like, hey, I want to know when DLC's coming out. It has a great cliffhanger ending that really could take the series in some great new directions. It adds in a few characters that I think are really cool and could be explored in DLC, and I wanted to know when that was coming out. So luckily, Capcom delivered on their trend of releasing a trailer on launch day that spoils about half the game without you really knowing it, and in that, they kind of announced some DLC. And it leads to Capcom's Unity blog, where they have a post that details all of the DLC pretty much that's coming out within the next month. The first DLC actually comes out next week, and it's a $10 pack that has 2 banned tapes, and the second pack comes out on February 14th, which is really soon after a game comes out to have DLC. And this was one of my big gripes with Resident Evil 7, was that when you beat it, there's unlocks that are all related to the story and replaying the story. You unlock new modes, you can unlock new weapons, you can unlock a bunch of stuff that relates to replaying the story. But something that was sorely missing was any type of wave-based mode or anything, like the Mercenaries or Raid mode. And it's just weird because they've had some sort of extra mode you can play after you beat the main story in every single Resident Evil pretty much since Resident Evil 3. So I thought it was really weird that there was no sort of like survival mode or horde mode or anything in Resident Evil 7, especially considering how long ago Resident Evil 6 came out. And that's why when I read this blog post detailing the first pack of DLC, which costs $10 and is coming to PlayStation 4 first, I was a little bit bummed out because it has the first thing, which is kind of cool. It's a tape that's called Bedroom, and it says, figure out how to escape from a locked room, but don't let Marguerite Baker know you've been out of bed, which makes me think you were playing as a kid in this, you know, maybe one of the kidnapped children. That's cool, that's fine. I think that's really sweet. We'll talk about this more later, but the second thing was that really bummed me out, and it's called Nightmare. And the description for Nightmare's band tape is that you fend off waves of enemies and survive until morning. Now, what does that sound like to you? That sounds like Mercenaries to me. It kind of sounds like a horde mode. So, if this was coming out in like, I don't know, May, then that's one thing. It's January now, or even March. If this was coming out in March or April, that's one thing. But to hold back a mode that's very similar to stuff that's been in every Resident Evil game since Nemesis, just to charge $10 for it a week after the game comes out, that doesn't really make sense to me. That seems a little shady, especially when you consider Capcom's past with putting the DLC on disc for Resident Evil 6. They put the DLC on disc for Street Fighter Cross Tekken. They have a lot of weird stuff like this. They actually locked the true ending for Dead Rising 4 behind a DLC paywall, which it's just not a good practice. And when you're comparing this Resident Evil to the older games in the series, it just doesn't really make any sense. And I know I said this in my review, it's like apples to oranges. They don't really owe us anything, but it just kind of negates a little teeny bit of all the hard work that went into making Resident Evil 7 this great reinvention for the series that's showing that Capcom cared. I thought they were on the right track with Street Fighter V. They gave away the characters for free. You can earn them all with in-game currency or something like that. You don't really have to pay for them. And I thought they were on an upward trend, but then the DLC thing happened with Dead Rising, and I was like, shoot, that kind of sucks. And then now this, I just don't get it. I don't really think they can do anything at this point, because it's not like they're going to make that DLC pack free. And I do think it's cool that the Not a Hero mode, which is going to be a free DLC, is coming out in May. I do think that's cool. I gotta give credit where it's due. You're playing as a certain character, which they show at the end of the game. Don't Google this DLC because it'll spoil the end of the game for you, but you're playing as a character who I really think deserves an extra chapter, and that comes out in May, and that's really cool. But I can't not talk about this because it just seems weird, to be totally honest, to not have a wave-based mode in Resident Evil and then to have to pay for it a week after the game comes out. But what do you think? Are you cool with that? I think the 10-hour story in Resident Evil 7 is good enough, and if you play it twice, which you should because there's 2 vastly different endings, that's like probably about 15-20 hours of content for you, and then the unlocks are actually fun to play. It's a lot like Resident Evil 4 where you get these crazy guns for beating the game and accomplishing things. So going back and finding secrets you missed or like having boss battles play out different, that's really cool. And I think the game is definitely worth $60. It's just something that's disappointing me is that Capcom's up to their old tricks again where they're making us pay money for a mode that was in every other Resident Evil game. But yeah, I want to know what you think. So let me know down in the comments your thoughts on this, and if you think I'm blowing out of proportion, let me know. But I just want to hear your thoughts. So if you want to talk about it more, again, you can go down in the comments, or you can hit me up on Twitter at Jimmy Champane. And if you're playing the game, let me know what you think. I loved it, as I've said a million times, and I always like hearing from other people what they think of games I love. So yeah, I guess that about covers it, guys. So as always, I'm Jimmy Champane, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.